Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Chris, and on today's video I'm going to be creating my character for my new short story horror comic. If you're interested, check it out. I think the easiest way to begin character designing or designing characters and environments or anything you need for your comic is to pull from your script. And this is why it's important that in your script somewhere or in your story somewhere, you are being descriptive about the things you want to see. Because obviously we have to take those words and turn them into a visual representation on the page. So in my sketchbook, I wrote down environment, main character, and monster. These are the three things that I need to come up with. There's actually one other thing that I need to come up with, but I'll save that for later. So environment, I wrote dense forest, large trees, big roots, dead leaves, and darkness. For my main character, a man, which is obvious, but you gotta, if you are not the person who is going to do the drawing for your script, then you want to provide this information to your artist because they need to know, are they drawing a man or a woman? I mean, just in case they can't pick it up from context clues, you might as well include it as well. So, main character, man, business attire, tattered clothes, barefoot, tie on, scrapes, and scratches. Monster needs to squirm or wiggle, have legs that can be grabbed, and I'm thinking of a millipede, or it needs to have legs that can face grab. So from this, these are just all the ideas that come immediately to my head as I try to figure out what I want to draw. Because I was intimidated by drawing a forest and trees and things like that, because backgrounds are not my specialty, I decided to start with a monster. I already knew which direction I wanted to go in, which was a millipede, but I actually ended up drawing a centipede. So I just spent time sketching out reference pictures of what a centipede looks like, what a millipede looks like, working on the face, and then I came across something called a hellgramite, which looked really interesting. I liked the design of their legs. Started trying to come up with what it would look like if their mouth was opened, so that was all imagined. But for the most part, for the monster, I found it easier to just use reference to come up with that design. Next was my main character. Since I knew it was going to be a man and I knew he was going to be in business attire, I went ahead and just drew a simple looking guy in a dress shirt with a tie and slacks with no socks or shoes. With that in mind, now I went back and I was like, okay, well, let's rough him up a little bit. Let's draw some tattered clothing. So I started messing with ripping the sleeves off and ripping the legs off, and I thought that was good enough. And I was like, okay, well, what do I want this character to look like? And this is where I could spend so much time just going over face after face after face, hairstyle after hairstyle. I was just playing with the face shape. I knew kind of what I wanted to see, but I was messing with different types of hairstyles because I didn't want the hairstyle to look neat. I wanted it to be a little messy, but I just kept drawing. Then the next session was, or the next thing I wanted to focus on was going back to tattered clothing and trying to figure out how to make that look good and what kind of body type I wanted him to have. So I was playing around with those types of shapes. Then I started messing with the face again because I wanted him to be tired and I wanted him to have sunken in eyes, and that was really important. And then I started drawing facial expressions because I feel like while you're creating the character, it's one thing to have them just standing around, but it's very rare that I shouldn't say it's rare. It's more important to emote your character because that's what you're going to be doing in your comic. So I started to use Google, use Pinterest, trying to come up with an idea of what I wanted him to look like, and slowly but surely it started to come to life. I still don't have a name for this character, but I liked the idea and the direction that I was going in, with the scruffy beard, with the sunken in eyes, the sleep bags under his eyes. And then I started playing around with that idea where he was stomping his foot, and what would that look like if I drew him, and then what would he look like if he was running. So just playing around with the character's form. Alright, so after I drew some general ideas and I started to get a feel for how I wanted the character to look, it was time to pull out the iPad and get busy. Still not quite sure how I want his tatters to look, if they're too uniform or not, but I definitely think that I like the direction that he is going in, and I like that he looks disheveled. I wanted him to look really tired, worn out, and I was still trying to figure out his hair, but I think I pretty much got the idea of it. I didn't want it to be a perfect cut. I wanted it to be kind of messy. And then of course I wanted to add more tatters on the back of his shirt. I started to have a lot of fun with the character. I really like drawing action poses or running or facial expressions because I needed to see how the character was going to emote, how the character was going to move. Still don't have a name for him at this point, but I am liking the direction that this is going in. I think I need to get some reference as far as how to do some more cuts and bruises and abrasions. I think I've been using How to Think When You Draw. That book series has been very helpful, especially when I don't know quite where to begin with drawing something. So I'll refer to that and make some more adjustments as I continue to go on. But I think for the main character, he's really coming together. So that was the video on how I create my characters and monsters for my stories. Hopefully you guys gained something from my thoughts behind the process in my explanations. And if you'd like to support the channel, there's a link to my Patreon below, along with my older comics that are also available to be read. Remember, this is an ongoing series where I am taking you along making a short story comic. If you'd like to follow the process, make sure to subscribe. But until next time, let's make some progress.